00.
Yeah, 5 minutes before kubumbane insimbi yesithathu kulesikhathi sanyalo, we welcome Nozibusiso Dembe. She's from Nedbank and she's their treasury dealer. We look at the financial markets today. Welcome to the program. Good to have you on the show today. Last week now hamba wangshiya unginikete wangikhuthata wathi angiphangisa ngithengela amadenga ami ngiwafunako in the US because you know the markets there noma langeni lethu compared to the US dollar belisijabulisa. What is our currency doing today?
Thank you so much for having me, Spiso, and good afternoon to all your viewers. I'm so glad you started there because I was hoping you did make the purchase last week. Because if you're making it this week, it's a bit more expensive than it would have been last week. We have seen the rand weaken quite a bit in the past couple of days, ever since last week, Thursday, when the inflation figures in the US came out. We've been seeing that US dollars weaken quite significantly, currently trading at 18.9501 against the Lilangeni, and the euro against the Lilangeni trading at 20.5400, and the pound against the Lilangeni trading at 24.0594. So we've seen quite a bit of weakening in the rand, and it's unfortunate if you haven't bought the sneakers because that would have been a good time.
Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. But I'm just curious, what is the data that's going to affect the market right now?
So we have interesting data that's coming out soon. Just today, this morning at around 11, we had the SA inflation numbers come out. The market was expecting that those numbers would be around 5.5%, but the inflation, the actual number was 5%, which in as much as it's a bit lower than the 5.5% expectation, it's still a bit higher than what the SOB targets, which is 4.5%. So that indicates that interest rates then are really expected to stay higher for a bit longer. The second,
you already have the graph. Okay, you go ahead. I wanted us to discuss the equities, but you were still going on with some of the data that's going to affect.
Yes. So just one more thing. It's going to be a very interesting monetary policy next week or two, because later today, we expect the Fed to be making a decision on interest rates in the US, and that is definitely going to affect markets as well. The expectation is that interest rates are going to remain muted for a while, but we'll see that once the data actually comes out. For other countries, they've had a lot of interest rate decisions already. Japan has had interest rate decisions, Australia, UK is coming up. But to bring it closer to home, we're also expecting an interest rate decision for Eswatini next week. So that's going to be interesting because we'll then find out if interest rates are remaining high, are they being decreased, are they remaining the same, and that quite literally takes money out of the consumer's pocket.
Last week, and again, maybe I'm hoping we'll have the graphic of the equities go up again, because my next question is really directly to that. Last week, all US markets closed on the green. And that was just last week, Wednesday. And that was just the US markets. What is the situation today?
So right now we have the equities indices showing S&P 500 tracking the performance of US equities, which is in the green, but rather marginally. This good performance is driven by companies that are in the energy sector this time, and it's on the back of an increase in Brent crude prices. We have our FTSE 100 also marginally in the green, mainly because of inflation data that came out in the UK, indicating that inflation is a little bit lower than what was expected, which shows some kind of inflation stability. The JSE, on the other hand, slightly marginally low, but the JSE also indicated yesterday that they will be starting to trade environmental commodities, which is carbon credits and all of that. So that's going to be an interesting development in the market, because this is not currently traded in SA. So hopefully it'll give a bit of an uptick to the performance.
Let's look at gold. What does gold look like today?
So currently gold has been quite muted, currently trading at $2,157.48 per ounce. Brent crude currently trading at $87.25 per barrel, and gold hasn't moved much. We're expecting a Fed decision, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So markets will be a bit apprehensive in expectation of certain data. So gold has been quite steady in expectation of that, and we expect to see a movement after the announcement. On the Brent crude side, though, you might remember last week Brent crude was a little bit lower than where it currently is, and it's ticked up quite a bit in the past couple of days after Ukraine invaded some of Russia's oil refineries. So this is expected to then possibly cause a supply issue in Brent crude and limit supply. So if supply is limited, then the price of Brent crude will increase.
Really interesting. I'm quite sad we've run out of time. I'm looking at the time. And we've run out of time. I really wanted to find out why the S&P 500 futures are quite low, and I suppose you would answer it's because of some of the Fed rate decisions that are being awaited. All right. No, thank you for your time. Nozibusiso Tembe, Treasury Dealer with Nedbank Eswatini. Siyabonga ukuthi nanike nisibukele ehlelweni lethu lalo muhla. Let's see you again next week Wednesday. Have a good day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously.